Somehow, Trump's legal fortunes just went from bad to worse. Isaac Hayes III posted on Twitter, "We, the family of Isaac Hayes Enterprises, represented by Walker & Associates, are suing Donald Trump and his campaign for 134 counts copyright infringement for the unauthorized use of the song Hold On, I'm Coming at campaign rallies from 2022 to 2024. We demand the cessation of use, removal of all related videos, a public disclaimer, and payment of $3 million in licensing fees by August 16, 2024. Failure to comply will result in further legal action." And then he attached the legal notices to the tweet. And according to those notices attached, Hayes' family is demanding that the Trump campaign cease and desist any use of the song or any IP owned by Hayes, the removal of all videos featuring the song, an official statement by the Trump campaign widely distributed amongst its social media platforms, an official disclaimer that the family and estate of Mr. Isaac Hayes have no authorized, endorsed, or permitted use of their IP, and finally, payment of $3 million for licensing associated with past uses, noting that, quote, "The normal fee for these infringements will be 10 times as much if we litigate, starting at $150,000 per use." It's noted that the Trump campaign has until August 16 to respond, and if they don't, Hayes' team will, quote, "proceed with litigation and seek legal fees from all parties here jointly." Of course, the threat of lawsuits hasn't seemed to bother Donald Trump in the past, and in fact, litigation seems to be the sole purpose of his entire money-making operation. Because despite raking in hundreds of millions of dollars from his supporters, consider what the Trump team actually has to show for that money. On field offices, for example, in Nevada, Kamala Harris has 13 campaign offices, while Trump has just 1. In Pennsylvania, Harris has 36 offices, while Trump has just 3. And in Georgia, Harris has 24 offices, while Trump didn't open their first office until June. So Trump has no ground game, but here's Trump's attorney with a $70,000 Birkin bag. So go ahead and do the math on that one. And remember, this isn't even the first time this week that Trump has gotten served legal notice from an artist who wants nothing to do with him. Just days ago, he was publicly rebuked by Celine Dion after his campaign decided to pump this song into the venue in Montana while the audience was awaiting Donald Trump's arrival.
Singer Celine Dion is criticizing former President Donald Trump's campaign for playing her music at political rallies without her permission. Dion says the campaign has played My Heart Will Go On at these events since last year.
Which, of course, elicited the following statement by Celine Dion. Today, Celine Dion's management team and her record label, Sony Music Entertainment Canada Inc., became aware of the unauthorized usage of the video recording, musical performance, and likeness of Celine Dion singing My Heart Will Go On at a Donald Trump J.D. Vance campaign rally in Montana. In no way is this use authorized, and Celine Dion does not endorse this or any similar use. And really, that song? Even Celine Dion recognizes the curious nature of using a song about a sinking ship during a campaign rally for a candidate whose campaign bears a striking resemblance to a sinking ship. And yet somehow, even likening his own campaign to the sinking ship that it is doesn't come close to being the worst news coming from the Trump side in just the last week. Here's just a small sampling of the most disastrous moments brought on by the candidate himself.
I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone. The people of January 6th were treated very unfairly. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken, I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, We actually had more people.
Oh, nothing, just Donald Trump frantically comparing his insurrection crowd on January 6th to that of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech crowd. And then him denying the existence of biracial people, all the while his own running mate has 3 biracial children. At this point, if I was Donald Trump, I'd probably pump some Celine Dion into the room to distract people too. And yet, we shouldn't be surprised that Trump keeps digging himself deeper and deeper into this hole, considering he believes that the only way for him to win is just to go out there and plant himself in front of the cameras and make news by saying stupid things. Why? Because the attention he got in 2016 is in large part why he won the presidency. And so now, he's been conditioned to believe that anytime the cameras are on him, that he'll just win. But in fact, it's the opposite. Him winning in 2016 was the fluke. The only consistent consequence of Trump being in the spotlight is that people now realize what a straight-up fool he actually is. Because he's so aggressively narcissistic, though, he doesn't know how to differentiate Americans staring at a car crash happening in real time in front of us versus his view of all of this, which is that the whole world loves him and that's why we're all watching. And he's falling into that same trap again here. Again believing that so long as he can get up there himself and shove himself into our screens and use his face to blot out the sun, that he'll win the upcoming election. But all it's doing is reminding the American people and the entire country that the guy is a racist, a misogynist, a bigot, and overall, just a straight up idiot. And let's be clear, it's gonna get worse. The momentum is clearly only going in one direction, and it's not his. So he'll sink in the polls, he'll fall further behind on field offices, on volunteers, on donations, on public support, and he'll continue to lash out, which will only perpetuate the vicious cycle that he's caught up in right now. And it's why Kamala's rallies will continue to look like this.
So Arizona, bring that joy with you, bring those smiles, bring that positive future as you join me in welcoming the next President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
But I'm sure that won't lead to further disseminating by Donald Trump. After all, it's not like he really cares about crowd size, as Tim Walz made perfectly clear here.
On Wednesday, the largest crowd of the campaign showed up in Detroit, Michigan. But Arizona just couldn't leave it alone, could you? Wow. You know, it's not as if anybody cares about crowd sizes or anything. So. Wow.
So if you thought that Trump is crazy now, just wait until we're even closer to Election Day and the polls continue to widen and Trump continues to recognize the reality of this race, that the momentum is on the left, that his theatrics aren't saving him, and that the only thing he's actually earning are lawsuits and legal problems. I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more of my content.